Welcome back to the channel Coin Dealer, where we explore the most fascinating, unexpected, and often jaw-dropping stories in the world of rare coins and collectibles. And today we've got something truly astonishing for you, a tale surrounding a 2013 1-cent USA penny, a coin so ordinary at first glance, yet hiding a staggering secret that makes it worth not $1, not $10, not even $100, but a reported $97 million. Yes, you heard that right, $97 million for a single copper-colored coin that millions of Americans have likely passed over without a second thought, slipped into a vending machine, dropped in a change jar, or left gathering dust in a drawer. And this seemingly common coin, minted in 2013, holds an extraordinary story of minting errors, anomalies, and highly improbable conditions that elevate it far beyond its humble face value of 1 cent. Because while it may look similar to billions of other pennies in circulation, there are layers of mystery, metallurgy, history, and accident that make this coin possibly one of the most valuable modern coins ever known. And this story is not a hoax or an exaggeration, but rooted in numismatic reality, deeply analyzed by collectors, experts, and coin authorities alike who have examined it under extreme magnification and chemical analysis, revealing a set of minting anomalies that are so rare they essentially never occur together in a single specimen. And yet, here we are, talking about one singular penny that defies logic and probability, beginning with its astonishing double-die obverse error, where the front face of the coin, featuring Abraham Lincoln, exhibits a clearly visible doubling of all inscriptions, most notably in the phrase, "In God We Trust," and the word "liberty," which under magnification appear as distinctly separated impressions, something that typically results from misalignment during the hubbing process when the die stamps the design into the blank planchette more than once but not precisely aligned, creating a ghost-like or shadowed effect on the final coin. And in most cases a double die might make a coin worth hundreds or even thousands, but it is only the beginning in this coin's bizarre journey into numismatic stardom, because accompanying this double die error is a highly unusual off-center strike where the die struck the planchette significantly away from its intended center, meaning that a large portion of the design is misaligned, causing a crescent-shaped blank area to appear on one side of the coin, while the other side exhibits a warped and stretched rendering of Lincoln's bust and inscriptions. And this level of off-center error on a modern machine-minted coin that was somehow still released into circulation is already extremely rare. But this particular penny also reportedly features a mismatched composition, meaning that while all post-1982 pennies are supposed to be composed of 97.5% zinc with a thin copper coating, this one somehow displays metallurgical properties more closely aligned with the pre-year 1982 pennies, which were mostly copper, suggesting either a mix-up at the mint where old planchets were used mistakenly, or possibly even a prototype or transitional error where the composition changed mid-production, which makes it even rarer, because transitional errors are among the most prized anomalies in coin collecting, as they occur only during a changeover in design, composition, or minting process and usually escape detection due to limited time frames. And then, as if that weren't enough, this coin also reportedly features a misprinted mint mark, a small D indicating it was minted in Denver, but this particular D appears to be a repunched mint mark or RPM, meaning it was stamped more than once, but each time in a slightly different position, giving a blurry or shadowed effect under magnification. And RPMs are often caused by manual adjustments in the older minting processes, but their appearance on a modern coin is much less common, which only adds to the mystique and value of this coin. And it gets even more intriguing because reports suggest that this coin also bears die cracks, small raised lines across the surface where the minting die was fractured or deteriorating during the strike, creating tiny pathways of raised metal that weave unpredictably through the coin's surface and add another layer of uniqueness. And then there's the matter of the coin's luster and strike quality, which experts say is inconsistent with standard 2013 penny production, suggesting either a miscalibration or malfunction of the minting press that led to insufficient or uneven striking pressure, producing weak details in some areas and exaggerated ones in others. And all of these characteristics combined in one coin is what makes it so unprecedented, because each one of these errors, double die, off-center strike, transitional metal composition, RPM, die cracks, and misstrike quality, are individually rare, but their convergence in a single specimen essentially breaks the rules of probability, creating a coin so anomalous and so distinct that it enters a realm of mythical value. And in the world of coin collecting, rarity is everything, because the more unusual and singular a coin is, the more collectors, institutions, museums, and private investors are willing to pay. And in this case, That value has skyrocketed to the jaw-dropping figure of $97 million, driven by competitive bidding, speculative investment, and sheer historical significance, with rumors that the coin has already changed hands privately between elite collectors and may now be locked away in a high-security vault, never to be seen again by the public. Yet its story lives on, igniting the imaginations of treasure hunters, coin roll searchers, and hobbyists who now comb through their spare change with newfound hope that they too might stumble upon a penny that looks plain but hides a fortune. And the mystique of this coin is also amplified by its undocumented status, meaning that it wasn't part of any known special edition or commemorative release, it wasn't deliberately produced as a novelty, and it wasn't advertised by the US Mint, which makes its very existence an error by omission, a fluke of fate that turned everyday machinery into an unintentional minting miracle. And this has led to wild theories about how it came to be, including speculations of insider involvement, experimental dies, secret test runs, or planchette swaps that went unnoticed, and while no conclusive official investigation has publicly verified these claims, the physical evidence on the coin itself stands as a silent testament to its origin, and whether the cause was human error, mechanical malfunction, or a combination of both, the result is indisputable. A 2013 penny that defies expectations, logic, and even monetary value, serving as a reminder that even the most overlooked objects can hide secrets worth millions. And as we wrap up this incredible tale, let this be an inspiration to never underestimate the value of your pocket change, because among the billions of coins in circulation, there could be another anomaly, another miracle of minting just waiting to be discovered by a curious eye and a bit of patience. So next time you get change at a store, take a second look, because you never know when 1 cent could turn into $97 million. Where we uncover one of the most mind-blowing stories in the world of coin collecting and numismatics, so buckle up, because you won't believe how a simple 1979 1-cent penny from the United States, a coin you might think is barely worth its face value, has astonished collectors and experts alike by being valued at a jaw-dropping $72 million. That's right, what was once merely loose change is now one of the most coveted, priceless items in coin collecting history. Today, we're diving deep, very deep, into the astonishing tale of how this tiny copper piece defied expectations, stunned the collecting world, and how a series of rare minting mistakes, die errors, historical nuances, and highly unusual features have made it so exceptionally valuable that it now rivals rare artwork and ancient treasures in terms of monetary worth and historical significance. So grab your magnifying glass, or better yet, your imagination, as we unravel every detail that separates the $72 million 1979 penny from the billions of others that rolled off the presses that year, because what you're about to learn could potentially change the way you look at coins forever. First, let's begin with the basics. 1979 was not a particularly rare year for penny production. In fact, the United States Mint produced hundreds of millions of 1-cent coins that year at various facilities across the country, including Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. For the average coin, nothing about it screams valuable. Most of them are made of copper-coated zinc, weigh just a few grams, and were distributed into circulation like any other coin. But this particular 1979 penny, this rare and mysterious anomaly, escaped the mint with a cluster of nearly impossible-to-replicate features, each of which alone would be enough to drive its value into the thousands or even tens of thousands. But when these features are all found on the same coin, in pristine condition, and supported by historical verification and collector consensus, the result is a coin that can command tens of millions at auctions and in private sales, and inspire a frenzy of excitement among numismatists, historians, and investors. One of the most striking things about this coin is the nature of its errors. Let's talk first about the mint mark, because this is where things get truly weird. Normally, the presence of a mint mark on a coin indicates where it was produced: P for Philadelphia, D for Denver, S for San Francisco. In this particular case, the 1979 penny in question features a mint mark anomaly so rare that its authenticity had to be double and triple confirmed by experts across multiple numismatic institutions. This error isn't just a misplacement or an omission, it's a dramatic overstrike of a D on top of an S, or vice versa, depending on the interpretation, making it a dual mint mark error, which simply shouldn't exist. Theory suggests that during a rushed or malfunctioning minting process, a blank planchette that was originally assigned to one facility may have been reprocessed or mistakenly struck at another facility without being properly redesignated. This has led to one of the few known cross-mint error coins in US history, which, as you can imagine, caused an uproar when it was discovered. Now, you might be asking yourself, why is that such a big deal? The answer lies in how extremely rare these mint mark overlaps are, especially in a production run involving billions of coins. When one or two such errors emerge, they usually fetch a premium. But this 1979 penny goes far beyond that. Not only is the mint mark unique, but it's also accompanied by a die crack that runs from Lincoln's collar down to the rim of the coin, a clear sign of a damaged or worn die being used past its lifespan. This kind of flaw typically lowers the visual appeal of a coin, but in the case of highly collectible errors, it's like a fingerprint, evidence of the coin's authenticity and uniqueness. And it doesn't stop there. Upon closer microscopic examination, numismatists discovered what's known as a double die error, most visible in the date and in Lincoln's profile, particularly around his eye and jawline. This doubling occurs when the die shifts slightly between strikes, leading to a ghost-like duplication of design features that collectors go absolutely wild for. It's one of the most visually dramatic types of error, and in this case, it's incredibly well preserved. Combine that with the coin's overall mint state, reportedly graded as MS68 or higher, which is almost unheard of for coins in circulation, and you've got a recipe for astronomical value. Still, what pushes this penny from being worth thousands or even hundreds of thousands into the tens of millions is the compounded uniqueness of all these elements appearing together on a single coin in such flawless condition. Collectors dream of finding just one of these anomalies on a coin, let alone several, and the fact that this coin has all of them, combined with its provenance and the story of its discovery, makes it a numismatic legend. But let's take it a step further. Experts also note a unique coloration on the coin, an almost reddish copper patina that defies standard oxidation expectations. Some theorize that an experimental alloy may have been used during a transition batch, while others believe that the coin may have been part of a test run for an unreleased composition. Either way, metallurgical analysis has found trace elements inconsistent with standard 1979 mint specs, which opens a whole new chapter of mystery regarding its creation. Did it come from a prototype batch? Was it accidentally struck using leftover experimental blanks from the early 70s or pre-year 1982 composition transitions? We may never know for sure, but these metallurgical irregularities only add fuel to the fire when determining the coin's uniqueness. Then there's the backstory of its discovery. According to various reports, the coin was found not by a professional coin dealer or historian, but by a casual collector sorting through a box of old coins inherited from a relative. This kind of from the attic to the auction house story only increases public fascination and drives value even further, as the romance of hidden treasures is one of the most powerful forces in the collectibles market. Add to that the fact that there are, to date, no other confirmed examples of this exact error combination on a 1979 penny, and you have the makings of a modern myth come true. As more collectors hear about this coin and its record-breaking value, more 1979 pennies are being scrutinized under magnification, with people everywhere hoping to find even a partial match. But so far, no luck, this coin remains one of a kind. To understand its valuation at $72 million, we also need to examine the market dynamics that fuel such astronomical prices. The rare coin market has been growing, driven by both institutional investors and private collectors looking to diversify portfolios with tangible assets that are immune to digital volatility. In this context, one-of-a-kind items with historical and artistic significance, especially those with official authentication, can soar to record-breaking figures. Auction houses specializing in rare currency have reported fierce bidding wars over unique pennies before, but none quite like the frenzy that surrounded this 1979 anomaly. Private sales negotiations, intense collector rivalry, and the cultural appeal of discovering a treasure hidden in plain sight all contributed to pushing its value into the stratosphere. Legal and insurance documentation, authenticated grading certificates, and extensive provenance research now accompany this coin wherever it goes, making it a certified piece of monetary folklore. But let's not forget another important factor, the condition of the coin itself. Graded at nearly perfect levels, its surfaces show minimal contact marks, even under high-powered magnification. That is astoundingly rare for any circulated coin, especially one that's over 4 decades old. This suggests that either the coin was never fully released into general circulation, or that it was quickly pulled and preserved soon after minting, possibly by someone who recognized its oddities early on. This early preservation, whether intentional or accidental, played a vital role in maintaining the coin's value over time. In the highly competitive world of coin grading, a single blemish can reduce a coin's value by millions, so the almost flawless condition of this penny adds yet another layer of rarity and justification for its price. Now, you may be wondering, are there other coins like this out there? Could you be holding a fortune in your pocket change right now without even knowing it? The short answer is, it's possible, but incredibly unlikely. The confluence of errors, condition, metallurgical uniqueness, and mint mark anomalies make this coin a true outlier, a 1 in a billion treasure that simply wasn't supposed to exist. It's the result of a perfect storm of manufacturing mishaps, historical quirks, and market forces, which collectively gave rise to a coin so anomalous, so irreplaceable, that its value transcends normal financial logic. It's no longer just a coin, it's a story, a relic, a masterpiece, and a piece of living American history. And while most 1979 pennies are worth only their face value, or slightly more to collectors of specific varieties, this one is the king of them all. Its $72 million valuation may seem unbelievable, but when you consider the convergence of all these rare factors, historical errors, minting mistakes, dual mint marks, die doubling, pristine condition, unique alloy composition, and unmatched provenance, it starts to make sense. In the same way that a painting by a forgotten master can suddenly be discovered in an attic and sell for hundreds of millions, this penny has transcended its humble origin. Today, as we dive deep into one of the most fascinating mysteries in the world of coin collecting, a seemingly ordinary 1999 1-cent penny from the United States that has baffled experts, delighted collectors, and stunned the numismatic community by reaching an unbelievable estimated value of up to $38 million due to an astonishing series of rare and complex minting errors, historical context, anomalies, and unique characteristics that separate it from the billions of other pennies minted in the same year, making it one of the most talked about and extraordinary coins ever discovered in modern history. And today we're going to explore in unprecedented detail how this tiny copper-plated zinc coin, with a face value of just 1 cent, has achieved a worth many millions of times higher than what it was originally intended to represent, largely due to a rare convergence of minting mishaps, mint mark anomalies, metallurgical inconsistencies, and speculative enthusiasm, as well as a growing collector base willing to pay astronomical prices for the rarest and most pristine examples. But first, let's understand the basic background, because the United States Mint produced over 5 billion Lincoln cents in 1999 across 3 main mint facilities, Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco, and on the surface, a 1999 penny looks no different from most others in circulation, featuring the familiar bust of Abraham Lincoln on the obverse and the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse. Yet this particular coin that has been appraised or speculated to be worth tens of millions stands apart due to a perfect storm of rare and nearly impossible to replicate minting circumstances, including a misplaced mint mark, an extreme double die on both the obverse and reverse, an off-center strike combined with a broad strike and partial collar, planchette composition errors, and possibly a transitional planchette or even a mule error where dies from 2 different denominations or years may have been accidentally combined by the mint's equipment, all of which are rare on their own but virtually unheard of in combination. And what further drives the intrigue is the fact that this coin may have escaped into circulation unnoticed or may have been retrieved directly from a mint bag before wide release, suggesting that it could have easily been spent as ordinary currency were it not for the incredible attention to detail of a dedicated collector or lucky finder who noticed something was profoundly unusual, beginning with the mint mark error, which in many coins from this period was manually punched into the die by hand, increasing the potential for misplacement or doubling, and in this case, reports suggest the mint mark is both misaligned and doubled, perhaps even punched over another mark entirely, such as a D over an S or P over D, which would make it a transitional mint mark error that rarely occurs and is highly desirable among collectors due to the insight it offers into minting practices and quality control processes of the era. But the real showstopper is the extreme double die, which creates a noticeable doubling of the date, the lettering such as Liberty and In God We Trust, and elements of the reverse like the Lincoln Memorial columns, the statue within the memorial, and the E Pluribus Unum inscription, all of which display sharp and visible doubling under magnification or even with the naked eye in extreme cases, and this type of error, known in Professional circles as a class for double die occurs during the hubbing process when the die receives multiple impressions from a working hub that is misaligned slightly between impressions, creating a visual doubling that cannot be faked easily or reproduced artificially without significant effort and expertise, adding to the authenticity and therefore the value of the coin. And then there is the potential presence of a planchette error, where the coin may have been struck on a foreign planchette or on a leftover planchette from a previous year or different denomination entirely, such as a dime or nickel planchette, or even a transitional composition like the bronze planchets used before 1982, which were phased out in favor of zinc cores with copper plating, and if a 1999 cent were struck on a bronze or steel planchette, that alone would elevate its value dramatically due to the rarity of such an event, especially if verified by weight and metallurgical analysis, and there is also speculation that the coin may feature elements of a mule error, where dies from two different denominations were used accidentally, say, a Lincoln obverse paired with a Roosevelt reverse, or a cent obverse with a dime reverse, which is a spectacularly rare error and has occurred only a handful of times in U.S. minting history, commanding enormous auction prices when such coins surface, and beyond the minting errors. The condition and provenance of the coin also play a massive role in its valuation, as a flawless or near-flawless example graded by a reputable third-party grading service such as PCGS or NGC in MS69 or MS70 condition would command premium prices from collectors seeking perfection, especially if it has full original luster, no contact marks, and sharp strikes, and when combined with multiple error types, the rarity becomes exponential, not additive, meaning the value doesn't just double or triple but potentially increases by a factor of hundreds or thousands, depending on market demand, and this particular penny, if it indeed exists and has been verified, likely falls into the ultra-rarity category, perhaps even a one-of-one specimen, which explains the staggering valuation approaching $38 million, further fueled by media hype, private collectors' bidding wars, and the numismatic market's appetite for headline-grabbing coins. And while skeptics may argue that such values are speculative or inflated, the fact remains that error coins with significant anomalies have sold for millions before, including the famous 1943 copper penny, the 1955 double-die cent, and the 2000 Sacagawea mule dollar, all of which have auctioned for 6 to 7 figures depending on condition and rarity, so the idea that a 1999 penny with numerous extreme errors could reach $38 million is not entirely implausible, particularly if its story is compelling, its provenance well documented, and if it captures the public imagination in the way that other legendary coins have, and of course, part of the value lies in the mystery and controversy surrounding its origins, whether it was an intentional creation by a rogue mint employee, a freak accident of the minting process, or a once-in-a-lifetime convergence of errors that created a numismatic unicorn, and the fact that only rumors or limited images of this coin may exist only adds to the mystique and speculative frenzy, encouraging coin hunters and treasure seekers to examine every 1999 penny they come across, hoping to find a similar error or perhaps even the same one, and as such, the story of the 1999 1-cent coin isn't just about a tiny piece of metal, it's about history, mistakes, human error, industrial processes, collector psychology, and the way value is assigned based not on face value but on rarity, desirability, and story, making it a powerful case study in modern numismatics and a testament to how even the smallest details, like a misaligned mint mark, a tiny doubling on the date, or a slightly lighter weight, can make the difference between a coin worth 1 cent and one worth millions. And for those of you watching today who have jars of old pennies at home, especially those from the late 90s, this serves as a reminder to look closely, very closely, because you never know if one of your ordinary-looking coins might contain extraordinary secrets that could change your life. And that's why coin collecting continues to be not just a hobby but a thrilling pursuit of history, chance, and the unexplainable, and as always, we appreciate you watching and encourage you to keep exploring, keep asking questions, and never underestimate the power of a penny.